Hey everyone, before we begin, can we do a quick sound check? Cody, can you hear me?
I can hear you, my friend. How are you?
I'm good. How are you this day?
Doing well.
Awesome. I guess we'll wait for a few minutes for all the speakers as well as audiences to join, and then we'll kick this one off. I guess while we are waiting for everyone to join, I'll just start off with a short introduction as well as some news. Welcome everyone to another episode of XTalk. Today we are going to talk about a lot of interesting stuff. And while you're at it, make sure that you participate in the new Twitter thread competition that just recently went live. The rules are very simple. You have to talk about the Layer 1x airdrop. You have to include the Interact campaign link and tag Layer 1x. That's it. The top five best threads will be selected as winners, and you will be rewarded in Layer 1x tokens. Cody, would you like to give an introduction about today's topic?
For sure. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today for episode 32 of X Talks powered by Layer 1 Blockchain. Thank you for being here and listening in. My name is Cody. I'm the Chief Experience Officer here at Layer 1X Blockchain, and I am your host for today's episode. Today I am joined by, looks like we got Sam here, who is one of our community managers at Layer 1X. Sam is one of my accomplices to my random off the cuff type impromptu discussions we usually have on Discord. We have a lot of fun. I couldn't do it without him, so I'm happy to have him alongside of me today. Uh, Along with us, we have our ex co-host. Big shout out to them as well. For those returning listeners, the X Talks AMA series, welcome back. To our new listeners, the X Talks AMA series is a free platform we've designed for both new and existing projects across all different chains. It's a way for them to share their projects, expertise, and vision of a united Web3. And when I'm your host, you're pretty much guaranteed that we're going to be going down a few rabbit holes. So get ready for today's discussion because I feel like it's going to be a good rabbit hole discussion. Before we introduce today's panelists, let's pause for just 1 second. I think we've got everybody up. Is that correct? Can I get a thumbs up from co-host if we do?
Yeah, I think
Perfect.
we have mostly all of them up. And while we are waiting for that, I would like to remind people to use the comment section if you have any questions. I would keep an eye on that, and we'll bring those questions up towards the end.
100%. Yes. And then also just to remind everybody to mark their calendars for our next episode coming up on the 25th, I think. Of I think that's Monday, I believe, at 8 p.m. AWST or 12 p.m. UTC. We're talking about taking memes cross chain. So that should be another great discussion. For those that are just tuning in, my name is Cody. I'm the Chief Experience Officer and your host for today's episode. Um, so let's kind of dive in. Looks like we've got a great panel for a discussion today. So let's get to know who we've got on our panelists today. So if you want, just take 30 seconds, introduce yourself, and give us your 30-second elevator pitch for your project. Anybody want to go first?
Yes,
Yeah,
I
I'll
can
go.
go first. Hey, I'm Michael. I'm the co-founder of Curvance. Curvance, we're building a multi-chain agnostic reward layer and lending protocol to support productive assets, yield-bearing assets, allowing those assets to continue to be productive while you collateralize and borrow against them. That's the kind of bullet point. I'm also the CSO over here at Curvance, so I lead up a lot of the strategy and growth efforts on this side.
Guess I'm up next. Okay, ladies first. You can go.
Good morning, GM, everybody. We are about 15 days out to NFT NYC. If y'all are gonna be there, hit me up. I am a recording artist with music on chain, as well as a content writer for Community Labs, which is a venture studio, and a Rug Radio, a creator formerly on the DAO. Currently, right now, I am recording music. I have digital art out right now, and I'm creating some more to accompany my music. But yeah, I'm excited to have a conversation about what we need to annex from Web3 currently.
All right. Awesome. So, hey guys. So, morning. This is the earliest space I've actually been on here in Jamaica, 8 a.m., which is, kind of early for us to be up on spaces in Jamaica. But anywho, I host NFT Business Show, and I've been podcasting about the space mainly because, again, that I'm here on the island and I want to speak to myself about this stuff. And the best way to connect with everyone in Web3 was digitally, right? So I ended up on spaces, what have you. Ended up hosting multiple shows, interviewing people, and then ended up being the community manager for Nineverse. And as you can see, this little project in PFP that I have here, and we have multiple things, gaming, tokens, and so forth. But I'll be at NFT NYC also. Feel free to connect with me. Anyone that wants to be there or will be there and wants to speak to me, I would love to meet you there. So, yeah.
Hi, I'm Rob. I was one of the original Shiba Inu leadership members. I'm now representing Yuan Token, which is a cross-chain aggregator with a focus on Shibarium for obvious reasons. We're including analytics and sort of educational platform. More so project manager and Crawl on Mars and Mars Swap, which is Unity and Unreal Engine 5 metaverse. And then we have a cross-chain DEX, which has a flat fee rather than stealing your funds like the likes of Uniswap do to the tune of 0.3%. And that's as brief as it can be.
I guess I will go next. Good afternoon, everyone. Kelano. I'm a ghostwriter for Web3 founders who want to get some of their time back to keep building the cool stuff they're working on. And I also have a reply agency, which goes in the same line where we provide the replies for your account, whether it's a business or personal account. So once again, you can go and build the cool stuff you want to build instead of being on Twitter.
Love it, love it, love it, love it. Do you guys mind if I go next? GM. It's a pleasure to be on top of this space together with all of you guys. My name is Jonathan. I'm head of community for OBS World. Personally been in crypto since about 2017. And right now we're building the metaverse for car enthusiasts where people will be able to experience, interact, and connect in a lot of exciting ways. I'm not going to shill too much, but super excited to be here. And yeah, thanks for having us up.
Hi, everyone. I presume you can hear me. My name is Robert. I am the Chief Strategy Officer of Be True, which today on CMC is the 12th largest crypto exchange by spot trading. It's normally between 8 and 14 on any given day. Most of the team are based out in Singapore. I'm based in Europe. And I'm looking forward to discussing this topic, both from a user experience point of view, but then also in terms of the role that exchanges can play and what exchanges are looking for from projects and how things can be moved forward.
Mikhail, do you want to go?
Yeah, sorry, GM guys. Sorry, I'm a couple minutes late. I'm getting ready for GDC. Of course, all the last minute things tend to come up, and I'm all over the place this morning. But super happy to be here. I always love Layer One Spaces. Excited to talk about what needs to be. I'm curious to see what everybody thinks. I hope everybody doesn't say meme coins because I kind of love them, but I know that they aren't great for this space. So I'm sure we're gonna have lots of interesting debates today, and I'm just really excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
And I think the last one is Rob.
Could you not hear me before?
There's two Robs. That's annoying, and we're both British, so that's funny. So I think I just did a shout out a minute ago, but if you didn't hear it, if you didn't catch it, so my name's Rob. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer for BeTrue, which is a centralized exchange. It's one of the biggest by trade volume in the world, typically between 8th and 12th. I've seen it as high as 4 in recent months. And yeah, really keen to get into the debate about sort of the user experience side, and then also what CXs can do to help further things, and yeah, try and cut away some of the BS.
Well, I'll say again then, just in case you couldn't hear me before. It's funny Mikhail said about meme tokens. So I was one of the original Shiba Inu leadership team. I'm now at Yuan Token, which is a cross-chain aggregator with a focal point on Shibarium and bringing volume and TVL into that chain. I'm also project manager Mars Swap and Crawl on Mars, which is a metaverse. There's a lot of alpha there that I'll not be allowed to give, but we also have a DEX, which charges a flat fee rather than 0.3%. So if you want to buy $100 or $1 million, we'll charge you between 20 to 50 cents on each transaction, regardless of the size of that transaction.
That's amazing. Thanks, Robs. I appreciate it. You got to love Twitter. They're probably discriminating because of your guys' name being the same, I guess. I don't know. Who knows with Twitter half the time. But thanks for everybody for joining us. Looks like we got a new one that just joined us. Arena, do you want to go?
Oh, hello, guys. I was a bit late because I was supposed to be a backup speaker, but yeah, I'm here. Yeah, this is Fatih from Arena Games platform, and we are a platform of mobile games looking to go into PC games too, and we bridge Web2 games into Web3, and we make it really seamless for Web2 games to be integrated into Web3. So yeah, if you're a game and you want to be on Web3, Arena Games is your stop. Also, it is a platform for gamers too. You get to experience a lot of games on our platform. So if you're a gamer, I would invite you to Arena Games platform. Other than that, was there a question I should have answered? Because I can definitely answer what needs to be purged from Web3, but I'm a bit afraid because, one of the speakers asked not to save meme coins, but yeah, I can definitely answer.
No, you're good. We're just doing 30-second elevator pitches for right now, so you're definitely good to go. Thanks everybody for joining us. Looks like we've definitely got a great panel set up for today's discussion. So before I forget, please be sure to retweet this space because it's gearing up to be a good one. Also, please give our panelists a follow. I know that they're spending their time, especially Tropic being 8 a.m. in Jamaica. I'd probably be asleep on the beach somewhere. So we thank you for your sacrifice for being here so early. So please, please, please give our panelists a follow. So with that, let's just kind of dive into today's topic and what needs to be purged from Web3. And as we kind of think about this, there's a lot of different angles, as Mikhail kind of talked about, that we can come from personal angles, professional angles, as well as kind of a project angle as well. Some of the things that I've found is that when I talk to somebody outside my little crypto bubble about this whole decentralized revolutionary thing, I usually get some excitement, a little bit, but most likely I get a lot of eye rolling and maybe even a laugh, right? And so with that being said, we all know that Web3 comes with some baggage, scams, jargon, promises that seem too good to be true. We all know it's there. And today we're not shying away from talking about the elephant in the Web3 room and what exactly do we need to get rid of in terms of ideas, habits, attitudes, if we're ever going to build a united Web3 future that we keep talking about. And so just to set the tone for the room, and just for the record, this episode isn't about trash talking people, projects, or anything like that. This is a safe space. we're kind of more just talking about the house cleaning items that need to take place. And so with that, I'll jump into my first question. Is the biggest obstacle in Web3 success the fact that we, the community, are the problem? Are our flaws and bias mirrored in various systems that we're trying to build? Who wants to take the first stab?
Yes, because we are so desperate to have $100 million project because that's what's deemed as successful. When in actual fact, if you ran your own business in real life, if you had a $1 million turnover, you would be considered a successful business person. So we're so desperate to get to these big numbers, to have this recognition that we're making mistakes, we're doing naughty things. I mean, Rob down there is from an exchange. How many listings do you see where the volume all of a sudden goes up because they're setting off buy bots by doing 49% slippage and such? We're so desperate to achieve what we are told is what determines success in DeFi. You need to have a meme coin that hits $100 million. That we're making the space trash, and we're paying influencers over the amount. We're paying exchanges, sorry, Rob, but we're paying exchanges far too much to list a token, to market a token, because we're so desperate to achieve this supposed success.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think that it's also a systemic issue from like the bigger money in the industry, from venture capital especially. You see this a lot, not so much with the bigger name funds, but smaller funds kind of following the crowd, if you will. We experienced that early on when raising, and I always talk about it, but it's like a misalignment of incentives, where the goal isn't to build things that push the industry forward. The goal is to build a playbook that the VC can make money for their LPs. And at the end of the day, those are the things that typically get the best funding, right? And so you don't actually see wild innovation like we should with the amount of funding that we have in this industry, which we have a lot, and the valuations are insane. So there's a good opportunity there. But it's just difficult, right? It's difficult to innovate. It's difficult to push industry forward and solve real problems that plague all of us, right? Whether it's in the NFT space or DeFi or meme coins or anything, there's a lack of innovation, and it's a misalignment of incentives.
But ironically, meme coins are giving rise to a new wave of creation. So I myself did incredibly well from SHIB and being in the original leadership team. You can have a guess. But now I'm building projects with utility that at least are attempting to push the boundaries. It's not just a metaverse that you walk around and play a game. It has a purpose. Meme coins, again, I'll say ironically, and I know people get hurt by meme coins and the entire culture surrounding it, but meme coins are funding new wave of projects that are building genuinely.
It's pretty funny that everyone knocks the meme coin thing, because originally I didn't understand meme coins myself either when I came into the space really as an NFT collector. Then I made my way backwards into the various tokens, and then ended up into the actual meme coins and all that stuff as things were going. And it was really like the community of things. And it's funny because I landed in this where now I kind of dabble in all three worlds, and I see the culture that's in there. But it's funny that you representing SHIB, because the Kitty Edu, the same artist that made the SHIB, was the one who made the kitty. And I thought that was just a cool connection. And like the thing that we always say is like the memes with utility, once people get wrecked after hopping around, then they're going to stick in those communities, and those are the ones that are going to build out. And people knock SHIB, Doge, and all those other ones, but if you really look at underneath the layer, like those are a very loyal group of people. And I don't think it's a negative thing that they were able to build, because they stick around and they show up for each other. And I think it's really it's kind of a misunderstanding of the space, because even I just did not get meme coins at all until really the last 6 months or so. Then I was like, oh, okay, I see what's going on here. So yeah, it's just very interesting. So honestly, I wouldn't flush that out. And it's not just because I'm associated with a project that's in the space with the meme coins, but honestly, I never really pushed meme coins. But I think they have their place too. So
Yeah,
I
I
think
agree with
that's a
that.
really good point. They definitely have their place, and I think a lot of the people that are here for meme coins wouldn't even be participating in crypto if it wasn't for meme coins. Like, this is just a completely different audience that we probably wouldn't be touching. I mean, it's purely speculative. They don't care about utility. They care about making the bag. And I think if all of us like think back about when we first got into Web3, you know, one of the first things that attracted me to the space was that it was hopping, right? It felt like there was a lot of people coming in. It was a new emerging technology that was going to be financially incentivized to help build out. Like, that's the way every new technology works. It takes funding to support it. It's not like a unique to Web3 problem. I don't think VCs and Web2 are out there supporting, you know, businesses that are super innovative but won't make money. I mean, that's definitely their mandate. They have to fulfill that mandate, and we should be grateful to have the VC money that we have, and then we need to find other sources to fund like the fun, playful things. And I think we do have that, because there's a lot of like meme coiners and early degens, you know, Zeneca, Beanie, not to even bring up his name, but he's not, you know, whatever you think about him. But there are a lot of people that are investing in these more kind of speculative technologies and ideas that are kind of the OGs from the space. So I think you just have to kind of, for me, I accept what is from where is, and just stay on my path towards what I'm building and try not to get distracted by the noise. But there's like a place for everyone here. And I think being inclusive is part of the ethos of Web3.
So we are
To
potentially the
to
problem there.
piggyback off of I'm gonna make a quick point. So I do believe, like, I see all the tweets and stuff about, oh, we're so back, we're so back. One of the things that we definitely need to be purging from Web3 right now is, I love meme coin season this weekend. I probably got maybe 3 hours of sleep because I was so excited to see, like, oh my goodness, this is great. But there still is a lack of like education while we're building these, you know, projects, while we're in these Discord channels, while we're in these Telegram groups. I still feel like there's like a missing layer of the why factor. Like, yeah, get your money, get your bag, whatever, but like after that, like, you definitely want to pour back into the community or build out your own brand or take profits, because I'm all for taking profits. Nobody's going to shame me into that. But I do believe that there's an extra layer that I just feel like, you know, there should be a little bit more of the communication and teaching within the community about like the why. Because sometimes I feel like when we're in these communities and when we're like, you know, making different calls and building certain things and buying into or aping into certain projects, I feel like some people just don't understand the why, or some people just lack the knowledge. And not because they don't, you know, want to know, it's just that they're just kind of going with the flow of traffic, if you will. And I feel like there's a place for a little bit more education within our communities, which I believe adds extra health when we're building out the community that we're in, after we, you know, pump a coin and take profits and move on to the next. But yeah, carry on, carry on.
Well, we are the problem, because what are the media reporting? I mean, and I don't mean the likes of Crypto Basic, where you say, "Here's $200. I've written an article. Can you publish it?" I mean the genuine media reporting on crypto and everything that's going on. They don't give a damn about Layer 1X at the moment. Like, they don't care about BitTensor, Quant, and all these amazing projects. They care about a picture of a dog or a picture of a cat that went to 100 million, and it's bringing people into the space because they think they can make bags. So maybe we need to start changing that, as you're alluding to there with the media. Maybe we need to start paying the likes of Crypto Basic rather than allowing the meme tokens to dominate that small, corrupt space of media in Web3.
Yeah, Rob, I would say that is a great kind of like transition into what I wanted to say, which is, how do you actually change the media perspective? And in my mind, it's about how you launch these projects and how you attract new people into these projects. There's a right way to do a meme coin launch, and there's a very wrong way to do a meme coin launch. And we saw this last cycle too, towards the mania side of things, both on NFTs and also just random token drops, where you have a new Twitter account come out and drop an address and everybody apes millions of dollars into it. with no regard for anything, and then that money either actually gets a token minted and somebody gets paid, or in the more likely case, it just gets rugged. That's a huge problem for the entire industry, right? And this is the same issue we faced 2017, the ICO boom. It was just a cash grab, right, at the end of the day. So I think the way that you change media perspective is you purge the people and you do not participate in the ones who are not doing a fair, proper launch and are just doing this kind of fly by night, give me money, I'm going to, deploy a script and put a ticker on something.
But how many launches are done corrupt as well? When you look at SHIB, I can tell you with all certainty that SHIB was an experiment. But when you look at cat tokens and such that are being launched, the team are aping into 40% of the supply, and they're justifying it by saying we need to hold the floor. Then do you do buybacks and use the community funds to pump the chart to allow certain people to sell because they know when to time it? There's so much wrong with the space, and meme tokens is a part of that. But if meme tokens can be run correctly, rather than the same devs launching through multiple alts and trying to get what was Paulie's one lately? Was that 50% of supply he managed to get? I mean, the blockchain doesn't lie. So there's plenty of tokens out there that are launching corruptly, and then they're paying the corrupt media for articles. So it just keeps going round in circles. And until projects like Layer 1X really start pushing through, and the likes of us start demanding that, these guys are at the forefront and these guys are in the media, as well as other projects in the space, we're just stuck in this routine of we want people from Web2, come in and buy this token, you'll make lots of money. But then ultimately, the only people making the real money are the ones that are launching it corruptly.
Oh, for sure. I agree with both you and Michael's comment. It definitely sounds like the underlining theme here is that there needs to be new standards to basically prevent those, we'll call them bad actors, I guess, in the space from being able to keep repeating over and over and over the old repeat rinse kind of cycle that we're definitely on. So definitely agree with you on there. We have a new speaker to the panel. Just wanted to give them a chance to introduce themselves. Fluis, do you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe weigh in on this conversation as well?
Definitely. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Tay speaking from Flus. Flus in Arabic, it means money. And we're launching a hybrid exchange for Lebanon, Iraq, and a few other Arab countries. I was enjoying the conversations and listening to everyone. Mainly, we are all agreeing on the fact that the technology is fine, it works good. I think it's the people who misbehave. And if we want to purge something, I think from Web3, it's the bad actors. But unfortunately, they exist in every industry. What I like about bad actors in crypto is you can point them out really quick, thanks, of course, to the transparency of blockchain and able to pinpoint developers and their contracts and the wallets that they use. We launched token as well, and we thought, yeah, we're gonna, get loads of money and we're gonna build this awesome thing. And turned out to be totally opposite, because as many of the speakers were pointing out, that today I think the average crypto user is not coming for financial inclusion, they're not coming for changing the world, they're not coming for helping their communities out, they're coming for personal gains. And I think what we're seeing now with the meme coin frenzy is a big casino, and there is someone who usually wins in a casino. So yes, it's bringing liquidity, it's bringing money in, but I don't think this is sustainable for a long time. And at the end, it's projects like us and like many others who will get slightly burned. But yeah, for us and for me personally, I joined crypto and the Bitcoin bandwagon in the early days, but we did it because we used it. We want it, we have a need for it. And if it's not there, things can go really, really wrong and really, really bad. So when I started, I'm one of the first miners in the Netherlands, one of the first Bitcoin miners here. And most of the discussions that we have back in the 2012, 2013 were more about this vision of everyone having a Bitcoin wallet and the numbers around the world that are unbanked, and we don't hear these things anymore. Now it's more of this meme coin, Pepe, and this frog and this rabbit and this cat. It's nice, we're enjoying it. I like it, but is it the right way to bring people in? I honestly doubt it.
But Pepe launched multiple times before the one we all know was a success. They stuck $40,000 into a buy bot to do buybacks. So it's just corrupt, and they managed to buy back their way to that market cap.
I'd love to jump in here. I think Flus and some other speakers made some very good points as well. I think in general, meme coins itself is not a huge problem. Personally, I've been in crypto since 2017. If people, want to do something creative and ultimately they manage to build a community around that, I think, that goes to show something. However, on the other hand, I think we're dealing a lot with ethics here, because once we talk about blockchain and cryptocurrency, for me, very much probably as with Flus, it's a technology which has a lot of potential, a lot of utility cases, very similarly in our project. And most definitely, with certain projects or with certain meme coins, it is most definitely possible to become quite wealthy literally overnight. Is that going to be the biggest bag that you can ultimately ever make in your life? I doubt it. I think that ultimately those projects, they can be good. You will make some profit, as was said. The nice thing is to reinvest it back into the market, but right then the project already died out, right? So it's kind of with a predetermined agenda, I guess. Personally, I've been exposed to a lot of different projects. I've made some money in crypto. I've definitely lost over the few years quite some, but this as well gives way to education. And I think that we're talking quite surface level here, but I think that there are a lot bigger issues that need to be purged from Web3, such as scalability issues, complexity, and user efficiency for them to be able to use these products. Because even though crypto has been around now for quite some years, I wholeheartedly believe that we're still quite early, and we are only at the verge of seeing all of the utilities and what will be made possible once bigger organizations or even governments are also going to be adapting their regulations, maybe allowing in general for crypto and blockchain technology to be used in certain countries. I think once we see bigger things moving, the whole markets and everyone involved will most definitely as well change their mindset, because making a quick money grab can be done in Web 2, can be done in Web 3, can be done in pretty much any market. But building a sustainable business which is going to last, which you have valuable partnerships with other sector leaders, I think that's what's going to be a big game changer.
100%. Thanks for that comment. I appreciate that. It's interesting as we kind of take a step back and look at these things as to all the things that we can definitely find wrong. So this is a good segue into my next question, but I want to pause here real quick. And for those that are just tuning in, my name is Cody. I'm the Chief Experience Officer at Layer 1X and today's host. We have some pretty amazing projects and innovators in the space joining us as panelists to share their insights and tips and knowledge of the future and vision of Web3. And it's been a great discussion so far. So thank you for joining us. Likewise, if you have any questions for our panelists, please be sure to drop those comments, drop them in the comment thread. And Sam or I will present those towards the end of this episode. So kind of leading into what Rob and Michael and OBS were kind of talking about with ethics and changing the underlining tone of what needs to happen there. It's interesting because with my family, we always have a role, like when we're trying to decide as a family where to go out to eat for dinner. We don't allow people to say, no, I don't want to go there. If they do, they have to end up responding with some other suggestion on, for the group, right? And so kind of using that theme leading into our second question here, I'm a firm believer that cynicism is very easy in Web3, and innovation and creation is very courageous. It's interesting to see as you start trying to find and build these new standards of solutions that'll help raise the bar in terms of development, processes, flow, usability, things like that. That people are very quick to critique and to criticize you for what you're doing. So my question to you is, if you could remove one thing from Web3, purge it from Web3, what would that be, and what would you replace it with, or how would you improve or contribute to Web3 to make it a shared idea across to everybody?
So if I
have one. Oh, okay.
Oh, go on. I think removing complexity is obviously a really critical component of it. I mean, I think I've sat on so many talks about Web3, and they just go down rabbit holes, and you're thinking, yeah, this is why this particular project or aspect of Web3 is not going to go anywhere. Is because if you've got to spend a week, a day, 2 days just getting used to it, to understand it, it's not going to happen. Because if you really want to take on the big boys, Amazon, Google, and co, you have to make it really seamless and the user experience really, really easy to both achieve and to actually interact with. So that's one thing that we definitely need to purge if we want Web3 to really move forward, and for people to understand it more. And there's very clearly a need for the front end of Web3 to have a home, a Google-esque, if you will. I know that Flare Network have looked at things like this, and there are other projects that are doing it, but there sort of needs to be unification between behind one project where people can explore Web3 in a way that obviously protects their data and privacy, etc., but enables them to find what they want. There needs to be that starting block, because if not, what you've got is very disparate areas: retail, gaming, money, marketing. You can keep going on. Health, Web3 health. It just goes on and on and on. So there's a need to do that, to remove that complexity. And then to the other Rob's point about centralized exchanges, centralized exchanges are both part of the solution and part of the problem. I think for exchanges, it's a double-edged sword. On one side, you've got the fact that people pay to list, and I guess the ability to pay to list is a prerequisite to go, well, actually, is there anything in this project or not? Do you have is it just someone in their bedroom is like, hey, I've got X amount, would you now list me? And some exchanges will say, yeah, of course we will. And others will say no. And I think, it's incumbent upon CEXs to really look at a project properly, both in terms of its utility, in terms of technology, the team it has, the quality of that team, and then go, yeah, okay, this is something that we should put on the exchange. Now, that isn't a perfect approach, and there's definitely a lot of improvement that could happen with BeTrue and elsewhere. So, yeah, I think that those are two things that I would say.
Well, just on that, sorry, Rob. So, we're not allowed to shit talk about anyone specific. So I'll not say LBank and MEXC. But if you've got $20,000, you can get listed on there, no problem. And if you've got a friend, then you'll probably get it for $10,000. And there are exchanges out there that really don't care whether you're building, whether you're an alt. They don't care. So it's not. I'm not casting doubts on your exchange, and obviously the likes of
Binance. You like to think that they do their due diligence, but there are plenty out there who are just taking the piss out of the entire space.
Rob, you're absolutely not wrong. There are plenty that take the piss, and I guess equally, sometimes you can look at a project and go, yeah, there's a really good team, really good technology, and it lists and it absolutely bombs. And then you can look at some projects and you go, okay, there's probably not enough here, and they end up listing and it goes through the roof. So it's very difficult to determine how successful a project is going to be when it first lists. And obviously, from an exchange's point of view, so picking on B-True for a moment, B-True has got 10 million users around the world. It's very strong in Europe. It's very strong in Asia. And so if you're an American-based project and you want to have that interaction with Asia, or if you're African or wherever else, you're going to look at certain exchanges. Now, you're right. There are too many exchanges. That's one problem. There are just too many. There's 550 recognized exchanges, and they're recognized as in inverted commas. So, it isn't right. And Rob, sorry to go on, but I think the last thing I would say is that eventually regulators are going to very clearly catch up with the CEXs who have marketed projects and tokens that just frankly have no utility, never went anywhere, and someone somewhere else profited from that listing, and the people that actually bought it, saw no upside whatsoever.
I think another symptom of that is the market makers themselves. Like you have some teams who maybe don't understand like traditional financial terminology, and they get these contracts from different market makers, and the standard contracts are fairly predatory. They're all negotiable, by the way. So any founders in here that are going to negotiate market maker contracts, always negotiate them. If you don't know how, find somebody who knows how. But that's a problem. And then also projects that go to exchanges without market makers, oftentimes the exchanges themselves will run the books. And they do that in favor of themselves, right? Because it's not an agreement between you and that market maker to, reach a certain goal and generate profit for both parties. It just becomes a one-sided trade. So I think that that's another problem on the more so on the founder side, which is negotiating good contracts and understanding the market making game.
And going back to the original point, when you're talking about like mentality and like people being very critical and what have you, that's one of the things that I noticed very quickly when I came in. Even though everyone was screaming "wag me," right? Like that was like the thing last cycle, especially during the NFT communities. Not so much the token people, but the coin people, the traders that were there a long time, but the NFT people that really came in with the whole "wag me" mentality. But at the same time, you could see that they were the most critical. They were the most insecure. They were using an analogy from, some people get this, but crabs in a barrel. Like you put certain crabs in a bucket, they'll pull each other down rather than climbing up on each other. Like they're screaming "wag me," yes, but at the same time, they're pulling each other down off the wall. So none of the crabs get out of the bucket. And that was what was happening. And in many ways, it still is. And I noticed that, especially with insecure devs and insecure people that are building things, rather than saying, all right, you know what, we can tweak that and make it better, then they'll look at the other team and just be like, oh, everything they're building is terrible. It's like, really? Is everything they're building terrible? When it's pretty much open source, you're all basically starting from the same foundation in many of the cases, right? So how is it that everything they're building is absolutely terrible? And I think the whole crabs in a barrel mentality is not really just a Web3 problem, but it seeps into Web3, but it masks itself as like competition. We're saying, oh, we're in this thing to make money. We're in this to make the world better. And we say all these like buzzwords on the outside. But if you really look back and step back and say, all right, this is just insecurity and just bad mentality. And I think that's a problem that we have in the space that, right? It's easy to say this stuff, right? We come up on space, and a lot of us, if we spend enough time in spaces, we get kind of articulate. We know how to express ourselves and say the right things, get a few emojis and so forth. But at the same time, if you really look between or listen between the lines and see what's being said, it's like darts are being thrown and all they're doing is being critical. And I think that is the issue. And it's kind of like brought up in the question in itself. And I think, many times, rather than just seeing this as a zero-sum game that like everyone has to be out there for themselves. And I'm a very competitive person. I played football. I mean, you want to get me going. It's like, yes, put me against somebody and it's fun. But right, like it could just be fun. And sometimes the most fun that in life is when I come in a very close second. As much as I hate losing, the part of the competition was fun. But anyways, like the mentality of the space, I think needs to change. That's something that needs to be flushed out and washed out. It's a human problem, so I don't really see where it's going to be. Just knowing though that not every team, every thing, or every group that's saying, oh, we're collaborating and working together. I mean, false expectations are set in this space, because if you believe the narrative that everyone's going to make it and we're all going to hold hands and be happy, I think you're setting yourself up for heartbreak. So I just want to put that out there, that not everybody thinks that way. Most people have a crabs in the barrel mentality, unfortunately, as it is.
Love what you said there, man. I think as well, this is something that we're going to automatically see as we, see different kinds of economic models popping up within, different kinds of projects. Very similarly, I personally like to use the term skill to earn quite a lot. This is a term which, we are using basically within our project itself, because when we talk about all making it or happy hands or whatever, I think ultimately the biggest point is still for people to enjoy what they're doing, right? Whether you're working a Web2 job or a Web3 job, in the end it doesn't really matter. The big thing which obviously the internet and especially Web3 is giving us and a lot of other people all over the world is the fact that they can work from anywhere and still make a decent living, right? But you should still love that job, or you should still be in some case involved, right? Similarly, as Tropic just mentioned, the football games that he was attending in. And so why does that link to OBS World skill to earn? Well, if you're the fastest racer, obviously you're more skilled driver, for which you should be attributed. However, what's amazing is that we can use blockchain nowadays to open up that world, to allow anybody from anywhere in the world to come in and start competing, whether that's a complete amateur or that's a professional just trying to lay new connections. If they aspire to become something or somebody, they'll get those opportunities, I think.
No, I 100% agree with you on that one. It's interesting being a UI UX designer by trade for over 2 decades, working in Web2 space and things like that. I got my start in 2017 and as an investor. In it was amazing then versus 6-7 years later. The UI experience, UX experience has not changed, and I'm glad to see that a lot of people are projects that I've talked to are focused on a good UI UX experience, removing the complexity of it. And I think that is definitely going to be one barrier that we're going to have to overcome, is that. Likewise, I agree with each and every single one of you when it comes to the raising the bar, raising the standard of things. And that's a conversation, I guess, a debate that we've had internally here at Layer 1X. Being a blockchain, we definitely want to kind of raise that bar of developmental standards for projects that build on Layer 1X, but also keep it decentralized. And so we've been looking for ways to basically systematically raise that in a way that we can start attracting these bad developers that just keep like I said, build it once, repeat, rinse and repeat type of thing. And those are the challenges that I think that we're facing from a layer 1 standpoint, as well as trying to build in all of this new innovation. Because as we build out these new innovations, such as XTalk, our interoperability, cross-chain technology, our digital identity, things like that, with new toys come new opportunities to keep the old trends going of greed and corruption and preying on the newbies that are coming into crypto. And so I think it's a hard balance between decentralization and trying to set that new standard, and that's what we're coming at from our angle. We've got a lot of great new questions from our community. I want to turn some time over to get some of those answered by our panelists. There's some good questions out there. So, Sam, did you pick a couple that you wanted to bring to the panel?
Yeah, for sure. Looks like we do have a lot of questions, but I'm also aware of everyone's time. So we'll go through them. I guess the first one is for Jen. Uh, the question goes like this: for music NFTs, does anyone know if there are any portable products that will support Web3 music playback that we are used to having with Web2 apps and services?
Yeah, I believe I answered that in the thread, but I use right now Sonu Stream. It's easier. But they're now in public beta, so there's still like a lot of like testing going on. If you collect on sound, you can play, they have a web player as well as Audius. But trust and believe the kinks for playing Web 2 and Web 3 music collectively, we're still brainstorming that.
Yeah, thank you, Jen. I guess the next question is around the topic that we discussed quite a bit, and it was around scammers and scam. So feel free if you guys want to answer this. Can we purge scam and scammers from the world of Web3? It's one of the major reasons why adoption is very slow. I mean, security is one of the biggest promises of Web3. So when and how? This question is from Furkan, one of our very own. Who would like to go first?
If I may
Looks like a
go
hand is
first.
up, but I don't know if you want to answer the question because I was going to answer it too. But if you want to go, since your hand is up,
Think-
what is it? Kaloni?
Kelano.
Kalano? My fault. My fault.
Yeah, all right. Thank you. I'll take this one first then. So I think the sad part is that while we have complete autonomy on our funds with decentralized wallets and all that good stuff, it also means that we rely on our own due diligence to stay secured. And unfortunately, most people have no diligence. And for example, most of you have seen this meme coin coming out from Decadente, the small meme coin. It's launching like pretty much right now. And I was just going through the comments of the Decadente's post from yesterday when he said the pre-sale was closed. And there are a bunch of fake accounts trying to impersonate this main account of Decadente. And they all say, "Oh, the pre-sale has been extended. Send wallet, send sold to this address." And then what they do is they will pay for some engagement on those replies. So they will get, 1 or 2,000 likes on that specific reply. And I checked those wallets just out of curiosity. And there are also some fake accounts posting links to say that the meme coin is trading. You can go on this, obviously, fake account and check it out, blah, blah, blah. But funny enough, I was checking the two of the many accounts that I saw yesterday, and they had a combined 260 SOL sent to those fake accounts, which is roughly about $54,000 at the time where I took the screenshot. So I think the problem we have right now is that while yes, custody, self custody, and all that stuff is great, and in theory you can be safer than the bank if the bank rugs and goes down, all that stuff. But the problem is that people don't do their due diligence. And when you see stuff like that, obviously that's pretty sad. I mean, that's $50,000 that will never come back to anyone's hands except the scammer. And also, I think the big issue is that most people don't have the basic tools to protect themselves. So, for example, Wallet Guard, pretty well known, I guess, wallet checker, simple security. It just gives you a quick overview. Hey, is this website likely to drain you? And most people don't use it because I don't know. That's a good question because maybe they're just too lazy or don't even know about it. Maybe there is not enough information on how to keep your wallet safe and all that stuff. But I think the problem we have is that self custody has a degree of education that's needed that 99% of the people in crypto do not have. And when pre-sale is ending in 30 minutes, you get max FOMO. By the time you do some vague research, the pre-sale is closed, right? So I think that's one of the big problems we have. And unfortunately, it is so simple to drain people. You don't even need to drain them. You can just pretend to be another account. There is a fake Jared from Subway account that came out yesterday and that rugged another I'm not sure exactly the amount. I've seen a post from Zach XBT talking about it, and it was effectively maybe 400 souls or 500 souls. I'm not sure. So you don't even need. We're not even talking about security. We're talking about common sense, and that is the biggest downfall of most people, I think, even more than scam from compromised link and stuff.
And I just say really quick that Cash has not solved this problem either. The number one channel for scamming is Cash. So
very good points there.
Fluis, you had your hand up.
Yes, I wanted to as well add to Kelano that today the technology is way better than what we had, I think, 3 or 4 years ago, even with account abstractions and what the ETH standard 4337, if I'm not mistaken, which focuses on account abstractions and taking out all these, difficult tasks to maintain your seed phrases and maintain basically the private keys. I don't think we should take it on ourselves to educate users, but more of bring a product out that educates the user without him knowing. And that's why personally, and at Flus, we're very focused on how to bring the best of both worlds, the centralized world and the decentralized world. And I think account abstractions is just one step forward for us to bring a better Web3 experience, because in such standards, you're able to basically prevent malicious links from being listed in your wallet, again, with the private key management and so on. So, yeah, I would say stay positive. There is hope. It's just us that we need to put the work on it. And yes, Cash as well has its scams. I don't want to talk about credit cards and the fraud that happens there. This is not just a Web3 issue. This is an issue of day-to-day life where we meet with people and they don't have the I mean, even for us, I don't want to say like some people are stupid, but even for me personally, I truly connect with Kelano on sometimes in the last few seconds you FOMO and you make mistakes with deep fakes, AI. I have lots of stories to share on how communities, people try to defraud us day by day. And AI and the deep fake things that happen with listing exchanges, and this is just another total story. But again, the technology is improving, and I'm pretty positive that perhaps in a few years from now, we won't be discussing the scams and the rug pulls as much as we are now.
100%. 100%. Thanks for sharing your insight on that one. We're just getting close to our time. I want to be mindful for our panelists because I know that some of them need to drop off for other meetings and AMAs. Definitely want to thank them for being here. I do have one last question. Before I ask it, I am and my team are going to stay a few minutes after to answer a lot of the community questions. It's an open invite for any of our panelists that want to stick around and have the time to. We'd love to keep you on for just a few minutes extra so that we can get our listeners' questions answered. I think it's great when they propose some questions for our panelists, so we definitely want to foster and this type of environment and take the time to answer them. So my last question for our panelists today is, we've spent a lot of time talking and exploring about the things we should purge, the challenges, and the greatest opportunities for us to build a united Web3. What is one actionable thing every listener can do this week to be part of a positive change? And while you're talking, if you want to kind of give just a quick little outro of how people can keep in contact with you or any major event that's coming up, now's your time to shine. Who wants to go first?
Mikkel,
Yeah,
we're
I'll
missing
go on
you.
this one. I'll go on this one super quick. I just want to remind everyone in crypto that we are used to seeing a 2x in 24 hours or even a 10x or 100x. And while it's possible, I'm not saying it's not possible. We've obviously seen it many, many times, but it's just a good reminder that the S&P 500 bros take 8% a year and feel accomplished. And we are fudding if we don't get a 3x in basically 5 minutes. So I just want to remind everyone that taking profits and being pretty happy with, a 20% is a good way to play safe. And if you make 20% here and there multiple times a week or even a month, you will be fine at the end of the day. It is a long race. And if you are 20, if you are 30, you will retire in 20 to 30 years from now. So you don't need to make Gen Wealth in the next week. And making Gen Wealth in the next 5 years is also very good for most people. That's it. And yeah, just to keep in touch with me, follow me on Twitter. And yeah, that's the best place to find me.
I'll go. Haha. To Kaylano's point, not financial advice, but always remember buy low, sell high. And then for the ladies out there, shameless plug. If you are wanting to build community and be in this space, I highly recommend SheFi. I highly recommend Boys Club. Men too. We can always use allies and accomplices. But we are educating women and people in the space that want to know what's going on, how to read charts, what we really mean by do your own research. Because it's not just something that we shout out to, like, excuse liability. It is something where we are actually teaching and training people on how to be successful in this space. And yes, if you only 2x or whatever your profits, that is okay, because this is a marathon, not a sprint. And if you can just lock that in, you will be fine. I've been in this space since early 2021, and like I'm just catching my stride. And then lastly, you can all find me at Jen Marie Inc on everything. And if you all are in NFT NYC, hit me up.
Awesome. Hopefully I'm coming through because I was starting to rug really bad, so I had to switch mics. So can you guys hear me? Just throw a thing real quick. All right, cool. Awesome. Yeah, so I too will be at NFT NYC. And I will say the one thing that I would say or a call to action for the audience would just be to find a buddy. It's like a buddy system, right? If you don't have at least one friend within the space, right, I think you should just try to find someone that you connect with. And even if it's not for the purposes of, hey, let's make money together, right? Just someone who you can bounce questions off of and research together. There's like a motto, like each one teach one. So if you learn something, go share it with your buddy. If your buddy learns something, go share it with you. And I think it makes the space a lot more fun to explore because we're all learning as we go. I don't care if you've been in here for 3 cycles. I mean, there's new things that's still coming out and you're learning too. So to have that buddy there is the number one thing I would say. Connect with me. Mostly here. This is my favorite platform. So Tropic Vibes, you can listen to the NFT Business Show podcast, whatever. But if you're at NFT NYC, just let me know. Send me a message, DM me, whatever it is, and I'll connect with you for sure.
Love everything that was said so far. Just want to say huge shout out for today's space, Layer One, ex co-host, and just in general all of the people up here with me today as well. It goes to show because some of you guys I've definitely hung out with and months ago, even in random spaces, seeing familiar faces back now. But yeah, main point as was already kind of said, make sure that you do your kind of research, make sure you have a buddy, and I would say in general keep a good mood and keep good ethics, because just like in the real world, kill them with kindness. If you come in with great intentions, whether you're a builder, whether you're a community member, whatever it is that you're trying to partake in, I think if you come in with genuine intentions, the rewards will reap themselves. Maybe it won't be that your token goes up in 20% overnight, but perhaps you managed to get a new connection, get a new partnership, get that actual buddy, which Tropic was just talking about. So I think those are just important things. Keep your head high. We're very early into the space. Coming back to OBS world, obviously, if you have any kind of connection with cars or you have any kind of interest in the automotive sector, in gaming, and whatnot, please come and join us. Don't be shy. We have an amazing Telegram and Discord community. First step first, go follow us on Twitter, not just our account, but all of the speakers from today's space. And yeah, don't want to take up any more time. Love today's discussion. I think a very, very important topic to be discussed, something that sometimes, the community or, Web3 shies away from. But yeah, let's keep pushing, let's keep building, and look forward to the next space.
All right. I think that's just about everybody. So great. Yeah, so we're going to stick on. Like I said, all panelists are welcome to stay on and help us answer these community questions. There's some really good ones. So let's dive into those. Sam, do you want to take it?
Hey, yeah, sorry, can you repeat that?
I can hear you.
Yeah. All right, I guess we can take the next question. It's from Escobar. Could bridges be completely eradicated from Web3? Can we purge bridges?
I know my opinion on this. I'd be curious to see what the other panelists that are remaining would have to say.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit on it. We just had a big partnership announcement with Wormhole a couple weeks ago. And we've worked pretty closely with the other groups like Axelar, Layer Zero, even XY Finance. I think bridging is one of the scariest actions that a new person can take in crypto. I've witnessed it firsthand. When showing, so I have a lot of like real estate friends, and I've showed them like kind of how DeFi works and NFTs, expert stuff, and you kind of see like the life leave their face when they click that transfer button and they have to wait 30 minutes for their funds to settle on some other wallet, and they're like, oh my gosh. I do think long term it changes. I don't think that bridges go away. I just think that you start to see more adoption of natively multi-chain applications and tokens, NFTs, and you start to remove that sort of worry about transferring. Right, you can use like mint burn functions, which are a lot faster, right, a little bit cleaner. There's even products like dBridge, right, with a DLN network that's basically finality within 30 seconds on a cross-chain swap. You can go EVM to Solana back and forth, and it's very fast. That uses a maker-taker model, which is a little bit more, I would say, safe than the pool model that we've seen get exploited in the past. But I think it's just a natural progression, right? Like just like the internet, pre-Google and pre-Facebook and Twitter, you kind of didn't have these interconnected like sign in with Google options, right? That kind of made applications a little bit easier and started to connect everything. It's going to be the same in crypto. It's just a matter of time and technology, and we've already seen infrastructure improve greatly over the last couple of years. Like the idea of a natively multi-chain project a couple of years back was a pipe dream, right? And it was very difficult to facilitate. Now we have standards that help facilitate those. So yeah.
Great. Anybody else want to jump in?
I just want to say, yeah, I think that was a really good answer, and it is terrifying. It is a lot of anxiety-inducing things within this space, and that has to be on the top of the list. So, yeah, I agree with everything you said.
Yeah, we definitely agree from a layer 1x standpoint. We actually believe that bridges should go away. Because of the way that we've built our VM. So we've built our own virtual machine from the ground up, which allows us to not only interact with EVM chains, but non-EVM chains as well. But not only can we move assets, but we can move data and logic. And because of that, we're able to go a little bit lower in the funnel when it comes to, burning these bridges and the use for them. And the reason is because a lot of it has to do with our ability to do smart contract to smart contract communication, and that allows us to be able to natively swap tokens across the board. Very quick, very, very simplistic. If you haven't, I recommend that you try our beta swap that's out right now that you can find on l1xapp.com. You can follow us on Twitter from our main core handle. You can see a lot of the comparisons that we've done against Stargate, Squid, and we're adding new ones constantly that we're comparing against. And a lot of the times we're a fifth of the cost of, 1/15 of the speed in terms of delivering good user experience. I agree with both Michael and Tropic that it is definitely first time using a bridge is extremely scary. In my mind, I have an image of some 12-year-old kid running a server out of his mom's basement, being the bridge actor there, and it's scary. It is definitely scary, especially when you're moving a lot of coins between chains. So great question, Escobar. Thank you for asking. Sam, do we have any other questions from the community?
Yes. And I'm sorry if there are some background noises. There is one question from Elvita, and I think this one's focused for meme coins. Will projects without utilities survive in the future?
Yes. I think it's community at the end of the day. It's no different than an NFT project, right? Like it's really any project in the space. Like part of the job of creating a successful ecosystem or product is building a community, right? Those are your users, those are your evangelists. Like anybody who has that community will survive and do fine regardless of utility. I do think that utility helps with other aspects. Like if you're talking about onboarding institutional investors or getting for DeFi is a huge focus on liquidity, right? Liquidity is kind of the lifeblood of everything. So it's a little bit different. Like you need that community, but you also need the bigger kind of financial partners to deploy capital into your product as well. So I think, community is a huge part of it. Even just raising capital. If you have a strong community, you see this with layer twos and all L1s, like the core community oftentimes is reflective of the valuations they're able to achieve. They'll be fine.
Okay, I can go quite hard on this and just speak honestly. Meme coins will always exist. And one of the reasons, just one of them, is when you go into the shop and you make a purchase and you tap your Visa or MasterCard, you don't give a damn what happens in the background. You don't care about transactions per second. You don't care about what technology it used. You just want someone to do it reliably. And at some point when projects become established, let's use, Chainlink, Binance, these are dominating their small sector of that space. Memes will always exist because that's what crypto is to 99% of the people. They don't understand and therefore don't bother learning about what layer 1x are building. But SHIB, Doge, Pepe, people understand that, so they can jump on board with it. And as long as the stories like mine, where people make a couple of $1 million in a few months, there's always going to be more meme tokens pop up. And another reason is as long as we've got this, we mentioned scammers before. Now I'm treading very carefully here because there's different levels of scammers. There's soft scammers, there's hard scammers. Now for me, a lot of influencers out there, they have big followings on YouTube, they have big followings on Twitter, and meme tokens are paying them to shield their token. Now people are going to these guys. I'm not going to name names here because, that's when people start getting sued and stuff. But people are going to them for advice. And what are you buying? Now, why are these influencers very rarely talking about Layer 1X? but more often than not talk about memes. It's because there's shitloads of memes. There's a lot of money in it, and they can keep paying these influencers to keep pushing that narrative. So memes will always exist, and there's many, many more reasons.
Hi guys, I'm gonna pick this one up as well. Hi, I'm Ina. I just stepped in here, and Rob just literally, actually, read my mind. So, speaking of community, and to Michael's point about community growth and natural organic adoption, I personally, going back to Rob's point now, I personally would love to get rid of predatory influencers and agencies that, you know, feed on a young project, because and projects are forced to do that, you know. I would love for Web3 space to become more, you know, safe and organic, and for young projects to be able to grow their awareness and community based on actual utility of their protocol or project, and not out of fake following, right? So yeah, that's my stance.
So just a quick shout out for those that don't know Inna. She's our resident badass that is behind the XTalks series. She's puts all these things together. So big round of applause for her. She's we couldn't do this without her. So thanks, Inna, for piping in. Yeah, in terms of meme coin and stability, yes, I am a strong believer that meme coins will always be around. Yes, I agree that it is always with community that this hype is there. And to Rob's point, there's a lot of different levels of scammers, I guess you could say. But there are also some really good projects out there that are trying to build some good sustainable utility ecosystems and things like that. And so those are the ones that I feel like the listeners of this space and all of crypto should be seeking out. They're the ones that are trying to play by the ethical rules and try to grow their community responsibly. I'm of the believer that, you know, when you build it, they will come. And so how you build it, what you advertise, what you market yourself as, will help determine your sustainability as well for growth. And if you go after the coupon hunters, as I like to call them, the pump and dump type of people out there, you'll find those people really easy, and you can quickly mark yourself as a kind of just a pump and dump, rinse and repeat type of project, and you'll almost gather a cult like following, in my opinion. But in the same sense too, is that if you do it by the book, you try to build something, you'll start, yeah, you might have slow growth. You won't have that hockey stick growth like some of these meme coins do. But, you know, with any business, it's a grind. You've in crypto or not in crypto, you've got to put in the time and effort. I think that our panelists that are promoting their projects are doing the grind right now by getting out and just talking about their projects, talking about what they're trying to do and how they're trying to change the perspective of, you know, Web3, and trying to purge the negative connotations that come with Web3 a lot of times by promoting what they're doing for the good. So I applaud you guys for doing that grind, and we're here to support projects in any way, shape, or form. So great question. Sam, do we have any other ones?
I can pick up
Yeah,
on questions actually, Sam. Sam, if you want me to, I
thank you.
found one really good one. So, can they purge the mentality of getting rich quickly and owning Lambos overnight? I think this is a great question, and I know it's, you know, it's very sarcastic, but in reality of things, I think it's also quite a reasonable question. Anyone wants to pick up?
I definitely would. I think so. I think that's really a funny question because it's very appropriate in the sense that, you know, a lot of people do come into this space because they saw the Lamborghini, and I get it. That's like just, especially as a younger guy, that like that is very, you know, what we see is what we go after, even though I don't consider myself that young anymore. But anyways, so it is very influential on the decision making process. But at the same time, too, I do think it is something that can't go away because people always want the next thing. And as I opened up by saying, I'm in Jamaica, right? So if somebody makes $10,000 in the year, that's a decent year for a lot of people, right? Now, to someone who's living in the U.S., $10,000 is nothing, right? So if we look at it as a very U.S. or Western Europe way of looking at things, it seems silly, but if you're living in somewhere, let's say, where the average person in your community or your village might be making $1,000 or $500 for the year, again, everything's on a different scale because if you're growing your own food and all that stuff, like what does money really value anyways? That's a different conversation for a different room. However, you can tell them that, yes, you go into some random meme coin and just like throw a couple dollars at it, never knowing what it's going to do, it's going to hit. It's no different than them going and buying the lotto, which they're more likely to be struck by lightning 2 times in their village than they are to hit the lotto, yet they still buy the lotto. So I don't think the that whole image of getting the Lamborghini or whatever it is might go away because people still play the lotto and they just know that there is actually greater odds of hitting it big on a meme coin or some random NFT or some fly by night operation that just goes to the moon. And some people, a lot of people, go into it very well knowing, just like when they buy that lotto ticket, that they're probably not going to get this $1 or $2, whatever it is, back. But there is that chance and possibility of going somewhere. Now, with that said, after people get wrecked and heartbroken and so forth, I think then that's when the opportunity for community, camaraderie, and all those different things. Those of us that stuck through the bear market, I've met some of the best founders, builders, and projects and people during this because why? We went through the whole thing together. We got wrecked together. We grew together. And now that everything is going up, we also get to celebrate together. So I think, yes, it's a negative thing on one side, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to go away. And I think it's just how those of us that stick around through the whole thing navigate the whole thing and hold the hands of those and pick up all the broken pieces because it's like inevitable.
I love the thoughts that Tropic is sharing with us today. Like just for like hats off to you. I think that you have quite some knowledge and it's amazing to be, very true. And I think that, we can go down an even deeper rabbit hole, right? Because Web3, once again, it's an economy that you ultimately can just create, right? What's money in the end? Who controls it? And it starts going so deep, and I think we start scratching our heads even about what is actual value, right? What So honestly, I'm not even gonna start diving in because I think that we'll be locked in here for at least 1 more hour. I also have like another meeting to attend. GM, 24/7, building. But I want to say honestly, love for everybody in this space here today. I'll be hopping off right now. If you guys want to connect, please let's connect. Would love to have some of you on our own weekly spaces. We have our weekly space as well on Friday. But that's it. Cheers, and looking forward to many more conversations in the future.
Hey, OBS, I definitely want to go down that rabbit hole. So anytime you want to go down that, let's do it. Let's set up an AMA for that one.
Let's connect definitely. Our DMs are open just as much for anybody else. Following each other, liking each other, sending that first DM costs nothing, guys. Absolutely nothing. So instead of thinking around what next meme coin to buy, maybe spend 30 minutes of due diligence into checking out which projects you actually think are worth it, which are bringing utility. That's my message for the rest of the day. Peace out and have a wonderful rest of the week.
You too.
Thank you. I'll definitely slide in your DMs after this one. But yeah, guys, speaking of DMs and connections between projects that we are bringing up on our spaces, I'm more than happy to connect you guys whenever you feel like you can't reach out to each other due to, security measures or whatever. And also, this topic has been so good that I reckon I'll have to set up volume 2 for this one in a couple of weeks' time. After our TG, I think we will come back to this and recruit the speakers and have a chat, and we can develop these thoughts and go down the rabbit hole as Cody loves it.
Oh, you can count me in. I'll be there for sure.
I know.
That's awesome. Do we have any other questions from the community?
I think we can call it. Yeah, I think we can definitely call it for tonight, this
Perfect.
morning, or whatever,
No,
whatever you guys are.
That sounds great. So just a big shout out to our panelists for staying a few minutes extra to answer some of our listeners' questions. We appreciate it. It's always good in AMAs to have your listeners ask questions. So we definitely wanted to foster an environment where they feel like they can we can answer their questions if they have them. So thank you again for staying a little bit longer. Again, if you're still listening, thank you. It's been a great deep dive discussion today on what needs to be purged from Web3. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I know Ina and Sam probably enjoyed it as much. I want to give them a shout out. Thanks for helping me co-host this. Before we close this, again, another big thank you for our panelists. Please make sure that you go follow them. They've got some great insight and some great projects that are coming up and are currently live. So please do that. And then also make sure that you follow the XTalks handle for all updates on upcoming AMAs like this one. We'd really appreciate the support. And so until next time, let's keep pushing the boundaries of innovation to unite all of crypto. Thanks and have a great day, good morning, good night, wherever you're at.
Thank you, everyone. Have
Yes.
a great one.